Morning, Pac-Man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I'm glad that's working well for you. Yeah, I was really pleased when I got that built uh, last week. So I'm happy with it. I hope everything's working for you. For some reason, I had trouble getting everything running. So, all right. Welcome, Critical Sid. Hey, hey. Come on, Twitch. Hey, K Money. Good morning. So I'm kind of up in the air as far as what to work on this morning. Hey, Jade. Yet to try. Yet to try what? Game room quad. Welcome. Now, if only Twitch would actually say I'm live instead of offline. I don't. There we go. That's better. I had trouble. I was connecting up for like a good 2 or 3 minutes, and Twitch would refuse to. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Phobus. Welcome. Ah, the attract mode. Sure, Jade. So, uh, I'm thinking we should do some prayer requests this morning. Just because um, we might as well. I don't know why I've never done them before. Beat a Maniac. You thought your computer crashed? Why so, Beat a Maniac? Sneaking in from Hyperspin. Well, welcome. Um, so anybody got any prayer requests before we get started? Anybody got any issues in their life that they'd like us to pray for? I'd be happy to pray for anybody who needs anything. Really, it could be anything. I've always got all kinds of issues myself, so certainly no judgment or anything like that. So if anybody wants to speak up with a prayer request, let me know, and we'll go ahead and pray for your whatever you got going on. Um, I know I'm having, honestly, right now I'm having, I was doing really good for like 2 weeks there with my own addiction, and it's not, you guys don't even need to know what the addiction is, it doesn't matter, but uh, I do have an addiction. I was doing really good there for a couple weeks, and then just blew it over the weekend, unfortunately. And I'm lucky that my addiction doesn't really get in the way of my work, but it does get in the way of my family life every once in a while. So, but it's still a major issue in my life, and I'm trying to tackle it. So that's what I need to pray about personally. But if you guys have any prayer requests, let me know. Pray that you win the lottery. I got no problem for that with that, Stiffulus. I hear you. Well, thank you, Beta Maniac. Absolutely. I'll give it a few more seconds, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, let's pray. Lord, forgive me for my uh, issues of my addiction this past weekend. Uh, Pray that you would help me to refrain from that and just focus on you instead. Um, we pray for the development this morning. Pray that you would help me to be successful and productive and um, not distracted by all the issues I got going on and anything like that, but just be able to focus and get some good stuff done. Guide the conversation, guide the direction here this morning, um, just so that we can make this a better product, Lord. pray that you would bless Stifilus financially. Give him the money that he needs in order to thrive, Lord, and just if winning the lottery is in the it works in your plans, then so be it, Lord. But give him everything that he needs for him and for himself and his family, financially. Just provide for him, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. And help us to be successful for many, many years in this project, and help this project to continue on for a very, very, very long time. In your name I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Stifilus is going to be a boss. All right. It's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty odd to end a prayer and then be reading about coke and hookers. Whatever. I'm gonna go buy some tickets tonight. All right. PowerShell is open source and on Linux. Unfortunately, no. That wouldn't really help with anything. We don't do it. We don't use PowerShell for LaunchBox. Really, what PowerShell is it's just it's not really like Bash. Bash is a little bit more involved because you can run an entire operating system on top of Bash for Linux. Basically, everything goes through Bash, but PowerShell doesn't provide any kind of a GUI or anything like that. So it's really only for running scripting commands, and it's really powerful. You can do a bunch of stuff, but sadly, it doesn't really apply to LaunchBox or Big Box at all. So, all right. So, I'm kind of up in the air as far as what to work on. You said said I was offline. Sure. I'm kind of up in the air. One thing I want to do, I did just get an idea recently, this morning, actually, in the shower, where all good ideas come from. How to, sorry, it's my chair. Squeak. Nah, there it is. How to get any game text or any game image into custom themes. So we can create we're going to create a control which will allow custom theme developers to put basically anything anywhere. Is kind of what I want to tackle. But we don't have to do that here first. Another thing I want to get going before I receive the cabinet later this week is LED Blinky. So we could tackle LED Blinky. We could go back and work more on the scrolling text stuff. We could work on the LaunchBox Games database. I still need to do that, and I promise I'm going to get back to that this week. But we don't have to do that today. But I'm up for you guys' input as far as what you would like to focus on this morning. I think what I would like to do, although you guys can override that, what I would like to do is add these new controls for theme developers, and then maybe go to LED Blinky and get it, even though we can't test it, get it to the point where, get it as far as we can get before or without the cabinet, so that when I get the cabinet, it'll be nice and quick and easy to run with. So I think that's what I would like to do, but you guys can override that if you have, if you're adamant about working on something different. Yeah, that is really cool. They open sourced it. Theming stuff. Sure, makes sense. Okay. Okay, scrolling text and native support of manuals within LaunchBox. Sure. The manual thing would take a while, so it's probably not something we're going to tackle. Well, we wouldn't necessarily get done with it if we tackled it. But we got 2 votes for the theming stuff, so I think we'll run with that. Sounds good to me. Yeah, they do. And LED Blinky is pretty high up there, so we'll definitely head that direction. If you want to prepare for Retropalooza, then you should focus on the presentation side. Agreed. Yep, that is kind of the focus. Better theming. Okay. Have there been many requests for more of a GUI editor like Hypertheme? There have been a few, yes. However, an undertaking like that is extremely it's a huge job. It's not something we're going to get done in a week or even 2 weeks. So as much as I'd love to have that, it's a month's worth of development in order to get something like that going. It's very difficult, very lengthy. So unfortunately, that can't be a top priority, coming up with even more of a GUI editor than Visual Studio provides, just because sadly that would be way too much work for us to tackle right now. We could do little things like trying to get images to work in Visual Studio, but I'm not sure if that's even possible, to be honest. So anyways, yeah, I think the only way to solve that, Beatlemaniac, would be if I turn down my my streaming rates and stuff. Basically, in order for people to be able to read the code, we're really overdoing the bandwidth stream. Born in Arlington, Texas. Cool. You're not, well, I assume, are you still there, Jade? Or did you move away? There is a fix for that flickering, Beatlemaniac, and I don't remember what it is, but maybe somebody from the comments can help out. Oh, over the weekend I ordered about 20 T-shirts. 20 T-shirts to bring to the conference, bring to Retropalooza. A combination of the Big Box logos and the LaunchBox logos and the You Got LaunchBox thing. So that should be fun. I plan to give most of them away to YouTubers, of course. Try and get our name out there that way. And I also ordered about 1,000 business cards to put at the booth with the arcade, with the bar top arcade, all that stuff. That is true, DJ Quad. Yes, we could that might be worth an experiment to see how difficult that would be. But yes, in theory, I've never tried and I've never seen it done, to be honest, but in theory the WPF editor could be taken out of Visual Studio and tweaked. It's a good point. Although I've seen it done with stuff like the properties grid, so that the properties grid is used. Doing it with the entire XAML editor, I'm not sure. That would be pretty... I'm not sure if that's possible or not. Yeah, I would too. I'd love to see a GUI theme editor, but I'm not confident in the possibility of that, honestly. The thing is, if Visual Studio allowed you to just use their entire XAML editor in an app, then there would almost be no reason for Visual Studio. So I'm very, very doubtful that Microsoft allows you to go that far. I don't think that's possible. The more I think about it, the less likely that is actually going to be possible. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I really doubt it. I wonder. Let's do a search. Using XAML editor in application. No. Visual Studios. I don't know what to search for. Include XAML editor with application. XAML editor controls. Oh, these aren't what we're looking for. Does anybody know a good XML XAML editor WPF control? Does maybe even Microsoft plan to provide such an editor as a basic part of the presentation foundation, just like the rich text box is? There are no plans to include this at the current time. Text editor, that doesn't help. There's XAML, yeah, we've seen XAML, but it's not really hardly. It doesn't compete. Been digging around online in Stack Overflow, but maybe not asking the question correctly. I'm attempting to edit my generic default custom user control style. Well, that's not what we need. No. Yeah, I really, really doubt that's possible. And I know a lot of you guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about, what I'm doing here. Let's see. Eva, I'm streaming, okay? Have I run into any more bugs with VLC? Oh, definitely we still have some bugs with VLC. Basically what I've done, Beatlemaniac, is I've hired, or I haven't really hired him yet. He's still working out of the kindness of his heart, but when he gets everything fixed, I'm planning on paying him. Anyways, Huygen Kanchi is the guy who built the MetaVLC library, and he's working directly with the community in the forums, as well as working to fix all the remaining issues with the VLC engine. So he's going to tackle that, and I promised, I don't know that, I think he would work for us either way, but I promised to pay him a good sum of money for fixing these issues. So he's going to be working on fixing all these issues. So hopefully we can get them fixed this week. We'll see, depending on his schedule and stuff. Yeah, DJ Quad, we definitely, I mean, it would be awesome to have a visual GUI editor, yes. That said, we're already making some awesome progress with the themes, and it would be a major undertaking. I'm talking months of development, or at least a month of development is what I'm envisioning. I mean, that might be overrated. I mean, that might be too much. I don't know. But the thing is, I don't have a plan as far as how to do it to begin with, and it would be a major job. It would not be easy. So, with all that said, there's a reason why the only visual editor out there for XAML right now is Visual Studio, and nobody's done a better job with it. That's not to say I couldn't, but it would be difficult and be a lot of work, and it would take a very long time in order to do it. So the reason for that is just because XAML is so much more complicated and involved, and you can do a lot more with XAML than you can with something like the Hyperspin themes that are just XML. So, I mean, yeah, we could create a visual editor that would put images in a bunch of different places and move them a little bit. You know, that's not difficult to do, but in order to have the extra so I guess we could create a very limited version of that, but then there's gonna. I mean, it's a big can of worms to open. So I'm not against doing it, but just basically, I've seen so much good progress so far that I don't think that's going to be a focus. Killer Thanos, I don't know how to say that. The flickering had something to do with the hardware acceleration and flash. All you can do is turn that portion off to stop flashing red on Twitch. Interesting. Yeah, I agree, Beatlemaniac, that as many theming options as possible is the win. And we're already, I mean, we've last week we had 2 awesome new themes, or more, at least 2 awesome new themes. I haven't even looked at everything. But yeah, we're definitely, I mean, if we keep expanding with 2 themes a week, we're gonna have all kinds of options here very soon. Pac-Man, no, the scrolling text thing, I ran into so many issues. And actually, I have some emails from, let me pull it up here. Silvis Valentine has been sending me emails on things he's tried to get it to work, which has been a big help. And I got close last time, but unfortunately, I keep getting stuck. I keep having issues. The latest issue is that I can't get the size of the controls properly at the right times in order to make it happen. So we'll get it fixed, but it hasn't been a priority for me, and I just started to drive me nuts. So I said, yeah, screw it, and I moved on to the attract mode. So we'll get back to it here soon. I think a detailed documentation. Now that I fully agree with. We definitely need a detailed documentation. And yes, I think that would really, really help. And so that is probably not the highest priority right now, but that's definitely something we need to do very soon. I need to do very soon is come up with some good documentation for the custom themes. So, and that's possible. I could tackle that this week potentially. This thing is something like that's only going to take me 4 hours, so that's certainly something I should do here soon. Hey Doss. Hey Brock. Is there any chance of a second default theme, same as the other default, but a straight vertical wheel rather than curved? We could add a setting for that, Brock. That's certainly possible. That would be the best way to handle that, is to keep the same default theme. However, I think it is a good idea to distribute more than one theme, potentially, with LaunchBox or with Big Box. However, I don't think we need a whole new theme in order to straighten out the wheel. That makes sense, DJ Quad, yeah. Veltias, tell Kirsten to start typing. That's interesting. That would be awesome. I hear you, Veltias. I'm sorry. I don't know how to solve that one. I don't think that's going to be possible. My only request of the themes is to keep the default theme intact. I'm probably the only user that prefers the default theme per hyperspin pre-hyperspin wheel integration. Oh, sure. The text. Sure. Of course, we're not going to get rid of that. Are there LaunchBox themes? I don't really use Big Box because I don't have a dedicated media PC. There are not, other than changing the colors, Jade. And honestly, I don't have plans to create LaunchBox themes. But you can change the colors. You can change the color of pretty much everything. But at least with Premium, you can. However, no plans to create a true theming engine with LaunchBox. Region sorting not possible in Big Box. Region sorting. Region priorities, you mean? That's something we could do. It's not going to be too. The thing is, there's a lot involved with the region stuff, and I put a note on the ticket. I think it was Critical Sid's comments as far as what's left to do with that. So that's something we could tackle. Yeah, that needs done for sure. 23 viewers. No, that's not a new high. That's about average. We're doing pretty well. But yeah, the YouTube is growing constantly. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's awesome. It's really really great to see. We've been growing on the YouTube channel for a long time, so we're almost to 5,000. Yep. Only U.S. or Europe. Yeah. So filtering out the regions. Sure. Yeah, that's something we could tackle. Um, Although I do think we're going to start with the theme controls here, like I was talking about earlier. The preview is really abstract. Yes. Just a black screen with a bunch of grids and rows and no real visual feedback. Yeah, and agreed. I understand that. I know that. And yeah, I get it. I wish I had an easy way to solve that problem, but I don't. That's the trick. So at least for now, people are going to have to do some learning. It's really not that difficult to get going with it. Although I understand not everybody's a developer, not everybody's worked with markup before, and so it can be a big step. But unfortunately, the community's gonna have to step it up and do some learning in order to get the stuff going here. I think, like I said, I'm pretty pleased with all the themes we got going on. Yes, I would love for there to be more of it. Yes, I would love to build a custom theme editor and all that stuff. But like I said, it'd be a month's work in order to make that happen. And I can't really stop development elsewhere in order to really do that. So sadly, it's just not possible for the moment. Yes, we could experiment with it a little bit, but I don't have a lot of confidence in coming up with an effective solution in any kind of an acceptable amount of time. But I will keep that in mind going forward, and if we come up with something comes out that's going to help out significantly with that, we'll run with it. But unfortunately, I don't see that as feasible for the immediate term. As much as good as LaunchBox and Big Box are, my to-do list is still 10 miles long, and it always will be. There's a ton of stuff to do, and some of the stuff is high priority. Anytime there's any kind of a glitch, I label that as higher priority than anything else. And we do have quite a few glitches right now with the VLC engine still, but thankfully I've got Huygen working on that. But yeah, eventually we will get to the point where adding new features to LaunchBox and Big Box won't be that important and won't be as big of a priority, and we can tackle some of this crazy stuff like theme editors and maybe even porting LaunchBox to a different platform. But for the moment, I still feel like we've got too many features to add to LaunchBox and Big Box before we get there. Like to see a list of things I can bind to and example images of what the things to bind look like. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm going to build into the documentation, Veltias. Absolutely. Hey, Elliot. Maybe I missed you earlier, but welcome. Right now, all the controls to browse games are lists. Would be nice to see a grid type control. Sure. Yeah, that's good input. I forgot about the. We've had a request for a long time to create sort of something similar to the LaunchBox box art list grid stuff. So yeah, we should add that at some point here. That makes sense. All right. Anyways, let's get started. Let's go ahead and get a control. So what I'm thinking of doing, ultimately we should add 4 controls. All right, a game game text control, a game image control, and a filter text control and a filter image control, or platform text control, platform image control. And what that will do is allow you to add any particular game text, add any particular game image, add any particular filter or platform text, and add any particular filter or platform image anywhere you want in a theme. So I think that is what I'm going to try and do here. Matthias, yeah. All right. So, do we put this under controls? No, we would put this. Good question. I guess we would put it under controls. Or do we use a view? With a view model. That's probably what we should do. And then for the binding, I'm just trying to think through the best approach for this. If we use a control, we could just bind. Well, a control is going to be a user control anyways. But we wouldn't have to use. We could, if we did a control, we could do it without the binding stuff. In theory, I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. If we use the binding stuff, I think that's what we should do. So I would create a new view model in theory and call it, let's start with game text model, view model, game text view model. All right. And then, of course, we're going to have a game text view. And in it, basically, we're going to be stealing, it's just text. So, the other thing is we kind of want to be able to tweak like the styles on the stuff. So if I put the text block inside, I don't know. I'm changing my mind here. Trying to figure out the best way to do this. If I create a control that has a text block inside of it for the text, then you're not going to be able to get at stuff like styling for the text block. Theme download manager, that would be nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's something we should do at some point here. So we create, if we create this, yeah, I thought I had the best solution for this. I've been trying to think through how best to do this and make it dynamic and all that stuff, so that it's not limited in any way, shape, or form for the theme editors, for the theme builders. But the problem I'm running into is that it's not going to be flexible enough if we don't. So basically, in my view model, I need a way for theme creators to get any particular text off a game that they want. How do I do that? So if we provide selected game, for example, as a bindable thing, is there a way in XAML to get the text directly off of that? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's look up some XAML stuff here for a second. XAML binding child property. Huh. So perhaps it is possible. This would solve the issue. So in theory, what we could say, all right, so if we provide a game, for example, the game class, we provide that as a binding, then what you could say, maybe, for instance, is text equals binding game.title or game.platform, and ultimately have all the various text pieces you want available. And we could do the same thing for images, in theory, which would be pretty cool if that's feasible, if that's possible. And I think it is. So let's give that a shot. Let's see what we can come up with. That might be a much better solution here. Oops. You can reference the DLLs. Just because they're obfuscated Veltias doesn't mean you can't reference them. You certainly can, and we do. That if you open up, we're using controls built into LaunchBox and Big Box by necessity for this stuff. So the only thing in the way of doing that kind of thing is the documentation. Plugins are also possible. I just have to provide the interfaces for them. So the obfuscation does not get in the way of any kind of plugins or anything like that. That's not true. So it's just a matter of me getting you guys the documentation and me getting you guys the actual hooks. So if you have an idea for a plugin for LaunchBox or Big Box and you want to make something happen, let me know, and I can relatively easily give you the hooks that you need. All right, so here's Games View Model Base. What I ultimately want is I want a public. In other words, with obfuscation, the public anything is not obfuscated. So if I have a public class, it's going to be available without obfuscation. Public. It's going to be a game, ultimately. Selected game. And then this is ultimately going to be available and it's going to come from return this dot selected. Oh, we already have selected game. But selected game is a model. Well, this is curious though. So it's a games list view model. Oh, it's returning selected item, which is, I see, is game view model base. Which just has a game property. So that could be used. Nothing wrong with that. The only issue here is this, for one thing, this is protected. We need to make it public. And then also, whenever the selected game changes, we have to notify that this property has changed. Oops. I don't think we're doing that anywhere. Yeah. So whenever that happens, selection change timer elapsed. What's calling that? No, or no, we need selection change timer. That's start. Wow, we don't have anything in here in the base for that, I guess. Sort of makes sense. So we're relying on all these other ones to do it. So for example, for the wheel, yeah, we have it here. Whenever we set the selected game. Oh, interesting. The wheel, we're going to change some of this stuff. This isn't good. And this is public. So the wheel, in theory, so this dot notify of property change, this dot selected game. So in the wheel view, in theory, we already should have selected game available, and we should be able to test this out, test this theory, to see if we can get at stuff that we want. Although I need to make this uniform for the other views, and there's a bunch of other stuff to do. But so I think we should go ahead and create a new view and modify it. We just built. I'm gonna pull up Explorer and go to LaunchBox, themes. We'll create a new theme and open that up. All right, and then in views, in the wheel games view, let's just try adding something. So I'm going to add a text block up top. Actually, we should put it on the bottom. For now, let's just put text equals test. Foreground. I'll get out of here. Foreground equals white. Okay, so you see test up there. Location, what is it? Oh, canvas dot top equals 500. Canvas dot left equals 500. Just putting some stuff in here to get it out of the way. Font size equals 50. There it is. Alright, so this is terrible, but in theory we should be able to say text equals binding. And if I pull up, oh, I got rid of the XAML, darn it. But in theory, I don't know, binding path equals selected game dot, and that is a game. So what do we got? What can I pull that's going to be unique? Let's do something that wasn't previously possible. let's pull game.developer. Let's try that. See if that works. I don't know. Go ahead and start up Big Box. All right. I think my audio might have taken a crap again. Let me restart it. Stupid thing. I probably just broke. Unless... Yeah. Apparently if your sound card dies, Big Box does too. Come on. There we go. I've got this all messed up right now, so ignore that. Default copy. Alright, and it's in the games wheel. I had that text I added. Look at that. Holy crap, it totally works. Capcom, although it's not changing. No, it sure is. Well, that was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. You see the Konami there? And it's changing. So we now have a way. Basically what we've done here is we've provided a way for, on this view in particular, I've got to update things to make this accessible elsewhere. But we provided a way for people to use any particular field on games in themes. And it's fully flexible, which is really awesome. I didn't know it was going to be that easy. But this is the kind of stuff we can put in documentation. That's good. That's a good discovery. That's very, very helpful. All right. Facebook is so creepy, it's disgusting. I hate it. Oh, man. Yuck. All right. So there you go. The next thing is to make sure that selected game is available. And then the same thing for... so we need to just tweak everything to make sure that selected game is available everywhere, ultimately. And once we have that, then it's easy to just put in a text block, style it however you want, put it wherever you want, and you can add this selected game dot whatever in here, and you'll get whatever you want. Yes, of course, Pac-Man, that is definitely planned, and I'm thinking maybe we should do that sooner rather than later. Ultimately, because yes, we have way too much that's not documented. The first thing I need to do is come up with documentation for all the various views and what they mean, what they do. Developer logos, all that stuff, yeah. And well, and we can. Well, the other thing is developer logos we don't even have developer logos in LaunchBox and Big Box yet, which is really kind of silly because we should. They're on the games database, but not really populated. So yeah, that's definitely something we should do. I'm surprised that hasn't come up for a long time. Interesting. All right, anyways, now that we know that works, I need to go back into LaunchBox, Big Box, and alter my games view models to make sure that we have this selected game thing working properly for all the different views. The text games view model selected game is, you know what, I think what we should be doing is in games view model base, we should change the name of this to be, and I'm going to change it back to protected. Selected game view model. Okay. And then in the wheel, we still have selected game. We can drop the new. Selected game is going to be a different thing, ultimately. So then on text games view model, we have selected index changed. Oh, that's index. Item. Here we go. So in theory, all we got to do is add, well, we should be able to do this in games view model base, really. But the wheel ones are different. So I guess what we can do is games view model base, we add, let's find selected game view model, and then we can do this. We can say public selected game, or actually public virtual selected game, get, oh, virtual game selected game, get return this dot selected game view model dot game. There it is. And then we can override that. In the wheel games view, we say public override, but there's no setter. Yeah, that's tricky. Darn. All right. Set, and then do nothing, I guess, because it'll be overridden. That's fine for now. Then in my wheel games view model, yeah, that's good. That's working properly. Text games view model. The way this will work is whenever the selected item is changed, we say this.notify of property change, this.selected game. And that should handle it for text games view model. And then we have the cover flow with details and the cover flow games view model. Selected game. This should work in theory the same way, I think. Yep. So all we got to do here is say this.notify of property change, this dot selected game. We don't need the new. Say override. And then same thing with the cover flow games view model. Selected game. I see. Sure, and then change this to override. And then boxes is the only one left. And I think that's going to be ultimately just inherit the stuff from the other one. So now that we have the actual game bindable, that's really good. And it should work fine in all the various views. And we should be able to do the same thing with images. However, the image stuff is methods. Please have a non-programmer create the documentation. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sold on that idea. Where in the games database are the developer logos? There probably aren't any, to be honest. I think I have support for it in the back end, but I'm not sure that I've ever added any, and I don't know that users can add any right now. So that's something to do later, I believe. Okay. So we're good there. The only other thing I'm curious about is, in order to get images right now, the images on the game class, you can get images using the game class, but it's a method and not a property. So how do you access that in XAML? I'm not sure. I don't know if that's possible. So let's figure out if we can do that. XAML bind to method. Method to value converter. Interesting. I don't want to use a value converter. It's just too complicated. Eva, I'm still streaming. I'm going to be streaming for a few hours. You need to let me stream, okay? I'm sorry. You're going to have to wait. Binding to a method. I don't want a parameter. We don't need a parameter. We just need to bind to a method. Well, that's not useful. Static resource get file info. No, that's not what I need. Binding source. Huh. This is not, I'm not finding good answers here. Because if we need to create a property on games for every single game image, we can do that. That's not difficult to do. heck, it just doesn't look easy. I think we're going to need to create some properties on bindings. Hey, Vissy. Welcome. I'll be right back, guys. Hold on. All right. Does that work, Pac-Man? Or is that just a guess? That doesn't look like it's going to work to me. Hey, McLouie. Welcome. MC Louie, whatever. Awesome. Just a guess, sure. I'm pretty sure that syntax isn't going to work. There ought to be a good way to do it, but I can't believe I'm having so much trouble figuring it out. Bind a static method. I don't need. Is it really that easy? I don't get it. Well, let's try something. So if we pull up game, the game class, what we use in order to get images is oh, there's that. Get actual random background image path, image folder, video folder, manual folder. Come on, come on, come on. There it is. No, that's not what I want. Oh, we're using this get random image file path and then an image type. So that does have a parameter. We have stuff like get all screenshot images. Excuse me. Okay, so get actual random front image. I know this is confusing. But like we've got all the image priorities and stuff like that, so I think we're using the get actual random that will basically figure out what images should be used for that category and then return a random one. So these are the methods. So I guess let's try get actual random screenshot image. I don't know what's going to happen. If we put this in here, that should return the image path for the selected game, the screenshot image, or a random screenshot image path. Let's see what happens. I don't really know what's going to happen. This is driving me nuts. Oops. That'll be better. And then, actually, let's turn off background. I keep messing this up. Options. Videos. That's better. And then, we're using the default theme. That should be good. Or the default copy theme. And then we'll go into arcade. Yeah, nothing's showing up. Which means that that syntax doesn't work with a method, apparently. Which is kind of what I was afraid of. And I'm not sure how to make it work with a method. I could try adding that, but honestly, yeah, see, XAML doesn't even like that, so that's definitely not going to work. It won't work with the parentheses. Visi, we're working on adding some, basically allowing theme creators to bind to any, to put any text from a game in any text and any image, give them complete control as far as what they're putting in their themes, is really what we're working on for the moment. But I'm thinking what I should do is just add some properties to make this simple. I think I'd rather do that than have people use these weird method names anyways. So on game, we can add a property for public string screenshot image path get return this dot get actual random screenshot image. And then it'll be easy. So it's just adding a few properties. You might as well just do that to make it easy on people. Even if the syntax is still simple, but if it's different, I'd rather keep it uniform and make everything easy for people. So it really doesn't matter, I guess. Front image path this dot get actual random front image, back image path clear logo image path would it be possible to add support for visibility properties for the images like favorite, broken, ESRB? Sure. Yeah, in theory. Well, actually, you know what? We already have. Yeah. So we already have bool favorite. Favorite is already a property on game. So all you have to do is say game.favorite. But then if you bind to visibility, you would need visibility isn't just a boolean. So, but there might be, I don't know, we'll have to look at that. But yes, in theory, that should be relatively easy to do. Get actual random 3D image. I don't know why I don't have clear logo there. It's kind of weird. Box 3D image path public string. Yeah, fine. That's annoying. String. I don't know. I gotta look at the other methods. Come on. We have front, 3D back, screenshot, background. And then we have the cart ones. Oh, is clear logo. False. Oh, crap. That's annoying to use. Yeah. But you can't. I don't think we can do that. That's not going to work. Out. I don't know. Is there a way to, I don't have any idea in C# if there's a way to null out this parameter. Doesn't look like it. Thank you. Is this what I was already looking at, or is it? So yeah, we need this. Thank you, Pac-Man, is what I was talking about. Pac-Man's comment here. What we would have to do. I already saw this, but it was more complicated than I wanted to try and interpret. You wouldn't think it'd be that complicated. Whatever. So private bool dummy, I guess. That's annoying. Out dummy. This dot dummy. All right. And then public string image path. This dot get actual random cart 3D image. Cart 3D image path. Public string cart front image path. This dot get actual random cart front image. Public string cart back image path. This dot get actual random cart back image. And then why on earth, I don't have one for clear logos, I'm not sure. Public string clear logo image path. This dot get actual random clear logo image, which apparently we need to add. Let's go down to this. Public string get actual random clear logo image. Var images equals this dot get actual clear logo images, which we apparently don't have either. If images dot length equals 0, return null. So we can just copy this. No need to type all that stuff. There we go. Then get actual clear logo images. Public string get actual clear logo images. Image type and program dot data manager dot settings dot clear. What? Am I insane? Did we not add? We didn't add any priorities for the clear logos. That's why. So, and I'm certainly not going to do that right now. So, but apparently, and that makes sense. You can't customize the clear logos like you can customize the other things, which is why we're running into these issues to begin with. So I'm going to change my approach here. And I know I've got a method somehow to pull the clear logos. What is it? Clear logo. Wow, that's it? Goodness sakes. This dot get image file paths. Fine. So we need to add the method, but we're just going to do this a little differently. Public string get actual random clear logo image. Var images equals this dot get image file paths image types dot clear logo. Ignore the new. I still need to remove that. I just did that for restructuring purposes. And then if images dot length equals 0, we return null. Otherwise, we just do this. Bingo. Get actual random clear logo image. All right. So now we have image options for all of the different images associated with the game. So, yeah, EMU movies. One issue with the speed with EMU movies is that, yeah, I'm not multi-threading the image downloads. And that is, Circo recommended that I go ahead and do that. So that is coming. That's something I need to tackle. That will help the speed of the EMU movies downloads. Because currently it's limited as far as how much can download per thread pretty heavily, but you're allowed to download more than one thread at a time. So I really need to get those multi-threaded image downloads in there, which will really speed that up. So that's another thing on my to-do list. All right. So then we go back to our custom theme, and let's go back to the Wheel Games view, and we should be able to bind to front image path. Is that what it is? Multi-threaded downloads from the same source will reduce the initialization time, but will only speed up downloads if they are bypassing the imposed speed limit on downloads. Now multi-threading between different download sources will increase download speed. Yeah, I'm aware of that, Veltius. The issue is that there's manual restrictions on the EMU Movie servers as far as how much you can do per thread. So yeah, it'll increase the speed, and I know that because that's straight from Circo, and he's the one that set it all up and all that stuff. So yes, it will increase the download speed to add multiple threads. If you check out the EMU Movies download service utility, that proves it too. Because they download faster through here simply because it does 2 at a time. So there's that too. Anyways, see if that works. Front image path is correct. Yep. Go ahead and start up Big Box and see what we get. That is true. All right. Go into arcade. There it is. And of course, you can't even see it, right? Because it's getting cut off because it's the full path. But there you go. Yeah, we're working there. So you have all the image sources. So what we could do, just to prove it, we should change this up. Instead of using a text block, we should use an image. Or actually, no need to retype this all. Image, and then we say source. We don't need this, and we don't need that. And we'll give it a run. Oops, I need to go into games. There it is. There's our binded image that we've added. Cool. And of course, it should be relatively easy to animate it too. But yeah, that's a big win. It really is. That'll be a big help for theme creators. The only other part of the puzzle is we need to do the same thing for platforms and possibly filters, which are going to be filters without yeah, I think we're going to stick to platforms for now, because there really is no class for a filter, which is tricky. But we definitely need to provide the same functionality for platforms. So let's go ahead and do that. That should be relatively quick and easy now that we know what we're doing. Let's go into, we have filters, view models. That's a good idea, Jay. Yeah, I've thought about that. And then also, yeah, we kind of need some kind of theme settings thing. And right now, we don't have anything to create theme settings. So at some point, we're going to want to implement something like that that will allow you to even add new views and all that kind of thing. So yes, there's something like that planned, but we don't have anything like that for right now. So I need to design something. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I think that'll probably, it might even be code. In order to do that stuff, just it'll be really easy code maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the best way to handle that for the moment. So if you have any suggestions as far as the best file format to use, the best approaches for that stuff, let me know. Minimal HD to automatically set the preferred options like turning on video backgrounds. Yeah, that's true. That exactly. That would be really nice. Did I set up the video as well? What do you mean by that, Illuminous? Oh, the video for yeah, we're gonna need that, aren't we? Good point. We really should do that. Videos are complicated a little bit. Well, really, for the videos, so the videos shouldn't be an issue right now, and the reason for that is because you have to use the image video view, and there's only one video. So as long as you just throw the image video view wherever you want, and they automatically show up. So the image, in theory, the videos shouldn't be an issue like these images were. They give you more control. So I think the videos are already fine. Once we add multiple video types and all that kind of stuff, though, we'll definitely need to do something like this, but we don't have that yet. I know Sid's waiting on that. Can you add an open manual button that just opens the manual in the default PDF viewer? Of course, you can already do that viewing in the game details. Are you're looking for that in a custom theme, Jade? Or you're talking about a keyboard shortcut or a button, a joystick button? All right, so platforms. We have platform filters, view model base, and then these all inherit from that. And we have text filters, view model. So let's start with platform filters, view model base. We have image info, selected item. That's interesting. Oh, image info is the cover flow thing. Sure. Yeah, agreed, Veltius. We'll get there. We need a platform. So public platform, selected platform. Ultimately, and we'll make this virtual. Oh, in LaunchBox. There should be you can right click and view the manuals, Jade, in LaunchBox. Excuse me. All right, so selected platform, selected item, dot title, platform title, sure. return this dot selected item dot selected item is a, yeah, okay, I get it. So this should be the name of the platform ultimately, right there. So what we should do is just program.datamanager.platforms. That guy. Yeah, I'm aware, guys. We definitely have, I think we have a ticket in there to integrate a PDF viewer into Big Box. We have a Bitbucket ticket for that. It's just prioritizing it and getting it done, of course. So in theory, then, oh, that's not gonna work. Okay. Oh, nope. Maybe it will. I just did it wrong. Maybe. No. Oh. There it is. Okay, so we have selected platform available now. And then inside of really, maybe we should be doing it there. Come to think of it. Yeah, we should put this in the base. Virtual platform, selected platform, and we're gonna have to change this a little bit here. Get if this dot filter type equals platform, then we actually do this. Otherwise, except selected item isn't even available in here, so we'll have to do something about that. All right. Selected item. So why isn't selected item available in here? What is the... We have selected filter. Okay. Which is different. So we're going to have to make this virtual. And so what we're going to do is this dot selected filter dot platform. What is that? Really? Out of curiosity, oh, okay, I get it. Well, cool. So that's that for filters view model base and text filters view model. And then we need to override this, and we're also going to have to fire this off whenever it's changed. And we'll come back to that, I guess. Now let's take care of this while we're here. So notify of, let's take a look there. Let's search for this dot platform. Oh, come on, really? So we're not setting platform title. That makes some sense. So wherever we set selected filter, we're not always using the property. Okay, here's the property. We are always using the property. All right, so all we need to do really is in the setter here, we need to notify of property change this dot selected platform. Good. Okay, and then from there, text should be fine, I think. There's nothing in here that's going to matter. And then we'll be back into platform filters, view model base, and we need to override public override platform selected platform get. It's going to be similar but not. And it's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be what we had before. If return this dot program dot data manager dot platforms this dot selected item dot title. However, we need some error handling in here. If this dot selected item equals null, or this or not program dot data manager dot platforms dot contains key this dot selected item dot title, return null. And that should handle it in theory. And then we need to, whenever we set selected item right here, we need to notify of property change this dot selected platform as well. And that should handle it. And then for the wheel, I'll just go to definition on, no, we don't want that. Definition on this, and it takes us back to the base, so that's good. Nothing else needed to do there. We should be good to go. As far as providing the actual platform class to the theme, we should be able to use selected platform to get the actual platform class. And then in order to access the properties, we need to take a look at the properties on the platform class. So in the platform class, we have properties for the name, the release date, the developer, the manufacturer, the CPU, memory, graphics, sound, all that stuff. And then the only thing, we're going to need to add stuff for the images, of course. So methods wise, I'm using get big box platform random background image path. Get big box platform random, horrible names here I know. Platform random main image path, fan art image path, device image path, and clear logo image path. Banner image path. Okay. So I'm going to add some properties just like we did before. Public string banner image path. There should be 4 of them ultimately. Return or this dot get big box platform random banner image path. Public string device image path. This dot get big box random device platform random device image path. Public string. We have clear logo image path. And then finally the background. Bingo. So that should get get us everything we need. They'll just run a quick test on a couple things and we'll be good to go. Build this. Huh, that's cool. Star Tropics. I wish I were a kid again. Me too. Me too. All right. Cool. So we're built. Let's go to our theme. Take a look at the platform. Just alter one of these. Wheel image details, thumbs. That's fine. And we'll add, copy this guy. Selected platform dot banner image path. See what we get. All right, there it is. Bingo. Exactly what we were going for. And I'm confident text is going to work the same way, so we don't need to test that. We're in good shape. Awesome. So I think we can move on from that stuff. Maybe we can start tackling some LED Blinky stuff. You guys up for that? Prep everything to be ready for that once I get the arcade cabinet. Well, I could even put out a beta with this stuff today, in theory, if we get the LED Blinky going, and that'll make a lot of people really happy. Although it'll be hard for me to test anything without the cabinet. We'll earn even more after I win the lottery this week. Nested menus, yes, they're coming, but not today, unfortunately. We gotta, I gotta get ready for this conference here. Hey Scott, welcome. Could you expose the ROM name? Sure. From the selected game application path. Get name without extension. Okay, that's easy. I can do that real quick. That's like a 2-minute job, so no problem. On game public string application path without application file name without extension, maybe. We would say path.get file name without extension. Why do you want that though? I'm curious. This application path. The only issue is if it's null. We might have an issue there. There. Like to display the file name and have duplicates. Okay. Oh, there you are. Application file name without extension will be available in the next beta. Could... Oh, DJ Quad. Yes, that is high up on the list because obviously it's high up on Bitbucket. Although I want to focus on... we got to prep for this conference. We got to get LED Blinky in there. So that's kind of a high priority right now. But and that is high up on Bitbucket too. The thing is with the nested menus, when I start tackling nested menus, it's going to be a multi-day project. So I want to make sure we're ready to do that one because things are going to be unusable and unstable from when I start it to when I finish it. And I won't be able to work on anything else when that's going on, and it's going to take a couple days. So I'm not quite ready to tackle that one. But that is high up on Bitbucket, so we'll get to that soon enough. At the same time, that's going to be really a very experimentation kind of thing because I don't even have any designs in mind as far as how to handle that. It's also something we got to do for both LaunchBox and Big Box separately. It's going to be a major job. So unfortunately, that one might take a little bit longer than some of the other things. LED Blinky blinks buttons on arcade cabinets, and that's a very, very rudimentary description, but it that's what it does. Blinks all your buttons. Blinky Blinky. All right. LED Blinky. Maybe we should put in something into the changelog here. Fields on games and platforms are, let's say all fields on games and platforms are now directly accessible in Big Box custom themes with binding path equals selected game dot property name, or binding path equals selected platform dot property name. And obviously once we get documentation in there, that will be a better thing. And you know what, to be honest, I kind of feel like working on that documentation. So I might actually spend the afternoon working on documentation because now is probably a good time to do that. We need to do that sooner rather than later. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm thinking I should work on that documentation this afternoon for the themes, which would really help clear up a lot of stuff, and we might get a lot more people working on them if I do that. So really that should be a pretty high priority. And I'm kind of feeling like doing it, so I might as well do it this afternoon. I do kind of want to... We could start the documentation. I don't know. It's not development. If I do the documentation, it might be kind of boring. Although it might be interesting for you guys. So what do you think? Should we keep going? Should I do LED Blinky, or should I try and build some documentation for the themes while you guys watch? I'm not sure how interesting that's going to be. Okay, so Pac-Man, Critical Sid, I'm gonna do that this afternoon either way. Okay, you guys, you want me to actually do that on the stream, or you want me to do that later? If we do it on the stream, you guys will be able to provide some feedback, but it might be kind of boring because documentation isn't necessarily the most entertaining thing in the world. So Scott wants the documentation. Again, the question though, guys, is do you want it now, or do you want me to do it live on stream, or you want me to do it this afternoon once the stream is over? Don't have to do it on the stream. Sure. I'm kind of torn. All right, LED Blinky it is. Let's do more entertaining stuff on the stream. We only have like an hour and 10 minutes left, but I think we can get a good start on LED Blinky because it's actually relatively simple. I need to pull up the documentation. Let's see. Okay, download that guy. You guys don't really need to see the documentation. The first thing we're going to need for LED Blinky is we're going to need a way to specify your path for LED Blinky. So sadly, the first thing I'm going to have to do is work on the options for it, which is my least favorite thing in the world to do, but it's kind of important. So in our options form, come on. There it is. Change the language back to English. All right, and then I need to pull up LaunchBox to figure out where the best place to put it is in the nodes on the left. Go into options. So where should we put it? General images, search, theme, input, DOSBox, system. I don't know. We could just create a root node for it. It's not input, it's not DOSBox, it's not theme, it's not search, it's not images, it's not really general, it's not system. I don't know. I guess we create a root node for it. I could put it under general. Let's just do that. So first things first, we need, wherever we populate this guy, the tree view, here we are, initialize tree view. I need to add a new tab. And this is going to be LED Blinky tab page. The text is going to be LED Blinky. And then this .LED Blinky tab page .text equals strings .label LED Blinky. We'll have to add that, of course. Label LED Blinky, LED Blinky. All right, and then we're going to say general, if I could type general .nodes .add strings .label LED Blinky. Okay. So we then should have the node and everything's hooked up there. Come on, don't crash. All right. Now we just need, there's really, at least at first, the only setting we need is the path to LED Blinky. Well, we need something to enable it. We need a checkbox to enable it. Let's go find, so that's a good starting point. This is in, the location is 1212. Find our LED Blinky tab. There it is. Set the location to 1212. Also, I think there might be some configuration I need to do on the tabs themselves. Margin is 3 all the way across, padding is 0. I don't know, I think I seem to remember, yeah, margin needs to be, or padding needs to be 0, 0, 0, 0. There it is. And then this is at 12, 12. Okay, and this needs to be enable LED Blinky. And then we need a path, of course, the LED Blinky EXE. See if we can copy something else to make that easy. Wherever we're doing paths, somewhere we got to have that. This custom image thing. None of that is what we need. I don't know if we're going to find anything better than that. Nope. Alright, so that was images. No, default background. There it is. So we'll copy this. And I'm going to need a label. Path to LEDBlinky.exe file. LED Blinky path label. Okay. Something like that. That'll probably do. Doesn't need to be that pretty, I guess. It's something doesn't look really that good with it, but I guess that'll do for now. We can add more settings to that later. The anchor on this should be, it is top left right, and this is top right, and that should be default and fine. Okay, so I need to rename this LED Blinky path text box. Okay, and we're going to hook up this browse button, LED Blinky path browse button. I'm going to copy this the open file dialog. This is going to be LED Blinky open file dialog. And we're going to change this to be LEDBlinky.exe pipe LEDBlinky.exe pipe all files. There it is. That'll do. And then it's just the code behind this stuff. We're going to need to name this enable LED Blinky checkbox. Before we add the code behind this stuff, I need to add settings for it. Data manager. That's not what I need. I need settings. Data table export public string LED Blinky path, and one more data table export public bool enable LED Blinky. There it is. So these should be disabled by default. And when we check this box on check changed, this dot LED Blinky path browse button dot enabled equals this dot LED Blinky path label dot enabled equals this dot LED Blinky path text box dot enabled equals this dot enable LED Blinky checkbox dot checked. That'll disable it if it's not checked. Then we're going to need the browse button click. And then saving and loading, and we should be good, I think. I'm going to copy this logic. This dot LED Blinky open file dialog that show dialog this. In other words, if something was successfully selected, then we're going to say this dot LED Blinky path text box dot text equals utilities dot get relative path this dot LED Blinky open file dialog dot file name. Bingo. What else? Saving and loading. Load values. This dot LED Blinky path text box dot text equals this dot manager dot settings dot LED Blinky path, and this dot LED Blinky enabled. Fine. What is it? Enable LED Blinky checkbox dot checked equals this dot manager dot settings dot enable LED Blinky. All right. That should do it for loading it, and then saving it is just the reverse. Search for save values. this dot manager dot settings dot LED Blinky path, or start with enable one. Enable LED Blinky equals this dot LED Blinky path. No, LED Blinky. Enable LED Blinky checkbox dot checked, and then the other one. I'm going to put a trim on that. All right, there it is. That should be all we need for the settings in theory. Let's give that a test. What are we doing on comments? You know you want to. Should have checked the comments. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you're right, Sid. It would have been better to create a new third-party apps or some kind of thing. If we add more, maybe that's what we'll then end up doing. Search for the options. That makes sense. As more and more tabs are being added to this window, is it not better to have them underneath each other in the box beside the one they are currently in? I'm not following, Vissy. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. So we built startup LaunchBox. My coffee is gone. Tools, options, LED Blinky. What the heck? That's a bit odd. Well, I did something wrong in my designer. I'm thinking maybe it's $10.44. Cut. Paste. Doesn't matter, that's fine. But I don't know, let's try it. See if that fixes it. I'm thinking maybe I didn't put it in the tab control on accident. Or maybe these are just visible because I pasted these, so I'm guessing they're just not visible. That's probably what's going on. Once it's done building here, I can fix that. Oh, come on. You stupid thing. Ah, I hate you, Visual Studio. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Okay. All right. LED Blinky. There's the problem. It was visible false. All right, let's build. Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha, Vissy. LED Blinky. There it is. Enable LED Blinky. Browse. I burk it. The browse button isn't because I cut it and pasted it. That figures. Alright. One more fix. It's funny, I mean, when I was a novice programmer, my favorite thing to do was design these forms. Windows forms were my favorite thing in the world, and I loved dragging controls over and perfecting them and making sure they were so pretty and all that stuff. But now my least favorite thing to do development-wise is to tweak Windows forms. I hate it. I wish I never had to do it. I'd rather be in the code. It's funny how that works. All right. Here we go. I guess that probably came from designing 10,000 business apps, building business apps for years and years and years before I finally got to work on something fun like LaunchBox and Big Box. LED Blinky. Enable. Browse. Alright. We kind of need to default this, though, to a different folder. It should default to the LaunchBox folder, ultimately. Then LED Blinky. LED Blinky. There it is. Save it. Go back into options. Saved it just fine. Yeah. The only thing is to default that folder. Not that that's a big deal. You're only going to set it once, but whatever. We'll go ahead and do it. Initial directory equals application.startup path. Oh, you know what though? We should set it when we open it up too. If this.ledblinky path textbox.text.length is greater than text.trim.length is greater than 0. If file that exists, or fine, let's go string file path equals utilities dot get full path this.ledblinky path textbox.text.trim. If file.exists file path then this.ledblinky open file dialog dot file name, is that it, equals file path. Then that just sets it to the previous location is all. Nothing that's a big deal, but you know, whatever. Good practice. And now that this is done, we can finally get into some of the stuff that's a little bit more fun. Although we're not going to see anything. It's just going to be a matter of, in the code, calling LED Blinky with the right properties at the right times. That's it. So, yep. No, it's not in the... Oh, that's so stupid. Come on, C#. That's so dumb. All right, fine. If file.exists file path, this.ledblinky open file dialog dot initial directory. You got to set both the file path and the initial directory, don't you know? Equals path.get directory name file path. Fine then. There it is. Goodness, well that's stupid. Oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter. That'll do. Then should probably start doing this in Big Box. But I'm pulling up the guide here, and there are certain commands that you should call, and I'm pulling up those commands. I should probably pull that up elsewhere. Windows would hurry up. But for example, when selecting a game, we're going to have to do this both in Big Box and in LaunchBox, and I'm thinking really Big Box is what is important for it. So when we start up a game, but that will be automatic for both. The important thing is when you start up a game that the most important aspect is doing it when you start up a game, but also when we select games, we need to let LEDBlinky know as well so that it can update for that. But let's do games, starting games here first. It's going to be under data game, and we have if this will ever load up. So here is the LEDBlinky documentation, and somewhere down here is a list of commands that you run. Did I miss them? Probably. There it is. So front end start, we need to run this when we load up LaunchBox or Big Box, and front end quit, same thing when we quit. So let's just do them in order, why not? That's easy. So when we start up LaunchBox, probably the best place to do it is in main form shown, perhaps. Let's just say I should probably add a class for LEDBlinky to simplify this so we're not, custom calling commands and all that stuff. So let's add a class called LEDBlinky. We'll make it static. We'll say public static void just say run string parameters. And first off, if program.datamanager.settings.enable LED Blinky, if not, enable LED Blinky, or program.datamanager.settings.LED Blinky path, or string.is null or empty, or not file.exists, no, not ini file, .exists. Yeah, we're gonna want to separate this out. So we're gonna return null, or return. We don't need to return null, and not do anything if it's disabled, or if there is no LED Blinky path. We're just not gonna do anything. And then string path equals utilities dot get full path. Program.datamanager.settings.LED Blinky path. Now, if not file.exists path, return, don't do anything. Okay. And then we're going to actually fire it off. So really all we need to do is, what is the command? Yeah. Well, I know where to find it. Process. System.diagnostics.process. .start. Path, and then the arguments parameters. So we have that method. Then we can add methods to this. Public static void run front end start, and public static void run front end quit. And front end start is simply going to call this dot, what on earth? This? No, we're static. We don't have this. LED Blinky dot run. Parameters are only going to be 1 for starting up LED Blinky. LED Blinky dot run 2 is for quit. All right. Bingo. Then in my main form, when it's shown, we're going to say LED Blinky dot run front end start. And then when we exit, what is it called? Closing? Form closing. There it is. Okay, we're saving all this stuff. Before we do that, we'll do this beforehand. We're gonna say LED Blinky dot run front end quit. I'm gonna change the name of these though. We don't need to run on them. Okay, so that should handle it for LaunchBox, and then Big Box we need to do the same thing. So we have this app code. This is what runs when it's started. Writing all our configuration files. Brad's talking to me. He doesn't know I'm streaming. Should probably exit out of this stuff. Just in case. All right. Best place to do this. I think it'll be okay. I think you can do it right here. Just LED Blinky dot front end start. And then when we exit, I'm not sure if we're doing anything on exit in Big Box. That might be kind of a problem. Poop. We don't have any kind of event on exiting Big Box, if I remember correctly. So what am I going to do about that? Well, there's only one way for Big Box to exit, though. Unless you kill it. We should be fine. And it's under menu actions, exit menu action. All we really got to do is I think, do we do it after? Yeah. Let's do it here. LED Blinky dot front end quit. Okay. Progress. Let's check out in the comments. I haven't checked in a while. Visi, how should games which have multiple discs be named for the import process to recognize that there's more than one disc? Yeah. Yeah, Jade's got it right. Cool. So we've done startup and shutdown. Next. The next one is game start and game stop, both of which are pretty important. We should have hooks in there for that. And we only have to do that in one spot. Screensaver start, screensaver stop. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means. I would assume it's just random pretty button or pretty flickers all over the place. List change. I don't understand that either. I'll have to read into some of it anyways. But at least game start and game stop, that's pretty important. So let's get that in first. Not in Big Box. I need data in LaunchBox. That makes sense, Jay. Do it during the track mode. Yep. Although I'm not sure if it makes more sense to do it. Anyways, we'll come back to that. Game play, right? So we're going to play emulator, play ScumVM. None of that stuff matters. The only issue is if we return an error. Yeah, I would rather only do this when we actually fire the process. Which means I'm going to have to do it more than once. But so then in LED Blinky, we're going to need a new method, public static void game start. and pulling up this documentation, move this over here. The ROM and the emulator. Use double quotes around parameters if the parameter values may include spaces. That makes sense. As far as the emulator names, I'm not sure, but I assume we'll just use the actual emulator's name for now. So we're going to have string the file name, ROM file name, ROM file path, and then string emulator. Which is really kind of, honestly, that's problematic logic, because you need a ROM file for LED Blinky, which is interesting because what do you do about like stuff like Windows games? Now, obviously, Windows games are not going to be configured out of the box, but this doesn't support that kind of stuff, which is interesting. Oh well. So it's going to be as easy as doing this. Ultimately, we're going to call LEDBlinky.run. The parameters are going to be a double quote followed by path.get file name ROM file path. I think that's what it's expecting. I'm not sure. Plus another quote, space, and then another quote, plus emulator. That's going to be the emulator's name. It's fine. Plus final quote, in theory. And then game stop. Public static void game stop. Game stop. Yeah, I don't like GameStop either. I really hate GameStop. You know why? Because I don't want my games to be used when I pick them up brand new. Really irritating. I've hated their policies for a long time. Anyways, so that is GameStop. In screensaver, you might as well add these other methods in here while we're in here. It's super easy. Screensaver start and screensaver stop. LEDBlinky.run 5 and LEDBlinky.run 6. List change, animation start, animation stop. Don't really know what any of this stuff is. I don't understand list change, but especially since it doesn't take any parameters but 8. I don't get it. But anyways, hopefully that'll be enough for now. Let's see what happens. So game start and game stop. Game. We're going to have to modify play emulator, play scum VM. I think we got play DOSBox in here somewhere as well. So this is just a Steam game kind of thing, or a URL. In this case, well, the thing is, without yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be interesting, but LEDBlinky dot game start. The ROM file path, in this case, this isn't even gonna work because there is no ROM file in this case. There's no file at all. So LED Blinky is not going to behave properly in the case where we start up a URL. That's not going to happen. Play ScumVM and play emulator we ought to be able to make work. What else we got down here? DOSBox. So for DOSBox, it's going to be, before we start the process, we should call LEDBlinky .run, no, .gamestart app path. And the emulator, in this case, is going to be DOSBox. All right. Oh, if not this.use DOSBox, whoops. Then this is Windows, ultimately. We're just starting a Windows game. I don't have any idea what it's expecting in that case. I expect you can actually customize your emulator names in LEDBlinky, but I don't even know that much at this point. The ROM is really a file name that the front end passes. If LEDBlinky doesn't recognize the config, it lists it as unknown. Sure. Then you can set a config for it in the future. That makes sense. Hello, Punisher. Rage quit and share your creativity with the community. That makes sense, Jay. So yeah, I guess, all right. So you'd have to, here's one thing, all right? I plan on using, there's something on the Hyperspin forums that will automatically configure a bunch of platforms. So that's probably what we should be thinking of. But anyways, that makes sense, Jay. So we should be all right. But as far as like a Windows game, so maybe for the Windows game we should be using the game title, because the exe isn't going to make any sense at all. I don't know. Because you're going to have multiple games with the same exe. So I think I'm going to change this. We're going to say game instead, and we're not going to do this. We're just going to do that. Yeah, most people don't, I would expect, Jay. That most people wouldn't have any DOS or Windows games in the setup. Because obviously it's not built for that. But, so anyways, in this case, maybe it would be wise to say game dot. Oh, we're in the game class. This dot title. Perhaps. Maybe it doesn't look like it, Pac-Man, but we'll get back to that. I think this will work. So that's a Windows game. We go down, and this is DOSBox at this point. And when we start the DOSBox process, we're going to be doing it like this. LEDBlinky.gameStart, and we are going to use the game's title for DOSBox 2 because the game's exes are going to be this. It's going to be the same thing. Some of them are going to be exactly the same. like Sierra.exe for all the Sierra games. So we can't use the exe in that case, so we'll use the title for DOSBox games, and we'll change the platform or the emulator name to DOSBox. And then the easy part will be for actually emulated games, which is how it's supposed to be working. To begin with, oops, I went up too far. So here's Play Emulator. I think yeah, so Play Emulator and Play ScumVM. So Play Emulator. Here's where we start our process. Game start. ROM path. Oh, we're feeding. Okay, and then if it's null, we feed it in right there. Good. Alright, so we're going to use path.get file name ROM path. And then the name of the emulator is going to be, where do we get the emulator? Right there, var emulator. Emulator.name or title. There it is. Bingo. And then play ScumVM right here. ScumVM is going to be tricky too as far as the exe. There is no exe path for ScumVM. So I guess, again, I'm going to use the game's title. There's no ROM file for ScumVM. That's not how it works. You refer to a folder. So there's no way we could put in a ROM file for ScumVM. So we'll just use the game's title, and then we'll put ScumVM in for the emulator. Then the only other thing we need to do is process exited. Uh-oh. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Process exited. So this happens every time a game is exited. We need to do LEDBlinky game stop. Bingo. Alright? And in theory, that's all we need to do, I think. For the most part, that's it. We have stuff like additional apps. We need to make this stuff work for additional apps as well. Additional application. Launch. Yeah, this method here. So if we're using an emulator, it's just going to call play emulator, so we should be good to go, in theory. We're going to ignore that. That doesn't matter. If we use DOSBox, we should do this here. So LEDBlinky dot game start the game's title, but we don't really have the game's title. We have a game. Game.title, I guess. But the thing is, this is a additional app, so that's tricky. I don't have a good solution for that, so I guess we'll... Oh, this is if not use DOSBox. That's fine. Game.title, and we'll put in Windows. And then we're into DOSBox. And when we start up the process, we're going to say LED Blinky .game start game.title and then DOSBox. Okay. And emulation is already covered. We do need process exited. We need to say, oh man, but, well, we don't want to say the game is, we only want to say the game is quit if, oh, is this? Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, we don't want to always be sending quit, game start, and game quit events if this is an additional app that's supposed to automatically run before or after starting a game. That wouldn't work. So Jenkins, yeah, I'm aware the code is very small. I'm sorry. It's hard to see it. Unfortunately, I need to be able to have a decent amount of code on my screen, so that makes it difficult, I know. Stifilus. Yeah, developers have never gotten paid for used games they've sold, or that are sold. And that's why I don't feel guilty for not going on eBay and buying a game that's, 15 years old. That's kind of how it's always worked. PC games you can't really buy used for good reason because they're so easy to copy. But 360 games, for instance, are a little bit different story. So I am all for the consumer. I don't think it's smart to restrict reselling games. I think that's unfortunately that devalues games when you purchase them, and I don't think that's a good idea. But I understand it's a tough thing to figure out. No shouting. It's not like piracy because the old person who purchased the game no longer has it. So it's just being traded to somebody else. It would be piracy if and only if both people got to keep the game. But anyways, you should probably look at the download from Hyperspin for the LED Blinky configs to see whatever they have in there already. Yeah, that makes sense, Jay. Well, I'll do that. I'll check on it. All right, so let's get back to this. As with additional apps, this is tough. I think with additional apps, I'm not going to do anything with LED Blinky when it comes to Windows. That's a weird situation anyways. With emulation, it's already handled, exiting included. So that's good to go. DOSBox, what is the situation where you would use, well, if you're setting up DOSBox as an additional app, you're running a game, no question. So yes, we should handle it in this case. And what I should do is just put a private bool stop LED Blinky, and I'm going to say this dot stop LED Blinky equals true, and then in process exited, if this dot stop LED Blinky, this dot what am I doing? LED Blinky dot game stop. Bingo. And in theory, that's all we need for game start and stop. I don't know. We can start testing things. What about game select? We haven't done anything with that. Oh, set game. Light game controls. Set game is the same as game start, but only lights the controls. No other game start options are run. Use double quotes around the parameters. Okay, sure. So this is what should happen on select, which is good. That's going to be another important thing to implement. So yeah, that should be relatively easy. We've handled front end start and exit. We've handled starting games. The only thing left really that I can think of, well, we got screensaver stuff, but that's not really that big of a deal, although we have methods for it. We'll add, we need game select. Public static void game select. String game, string emulator. Which is basically the same thing as this. It's just we put 15 at the beginning of it. 15 space. So then in LaunchBox, in my main form, I think we should have a selection changed event of sorts. Selected game changed. Alright, so if no games are selected, we're not going to do anything. If one game is selected, I'm going to simply say LED Blinky dot game select the game, which, yeah, this is going to be tricky, and then the emulator. So we have game 0. So games 0 dot use DOSBox. Alright, if game 0 dot use DOSBox, we got one situation. Else if game 0 dot emulator ID not string dot is null or empty, this means it's using emulation. That's a different situation. Else we have yet another situation. That would mean, well, we need scumVM as well. And then the final situation is a Windows game. So for DOSBox, really, I'm thinking maybe we should just feed game over. That would probably be smarter. Then we'd save some of this logic. Let's try that. LED Blinky, game select, game. All right. Okay, if we're on DOSBox,
we're going to call game.title, and then DOSBox. If we're on ScumVM, it's the same thing, except we use ScumVM. If we're on Windows, it's going to be the same thing, except we're using Windows. If we're on emulation, it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of it's going to be program. We need the emulator. Var emulator equals program dot. We should check to make sure it exists. If program.datamanager dot emulators dot contains key game dot emulator ID. If it doesn't, we're going to return and game title program.datamanager.emulators game.emulator ID dot title. It's for the emulator title. Get rid of this and we're good to go, and all we got to do is feed over the game, which is a big improvement. So we just say, oops, LED Blinky dot game select games 0. All right, and then we just need the same thing for big box is all. Jade, that's funny. Hey BJ, DJ, 3ND. I don't know how to pronounce that one. All right, so big box. In big box, whenever a game is selected, we're gonna obviously have to do this lots of different places, but it's a little bit more complicated in big box. Under games view models, we'll start with that. Games view model base. We were just in here as far as when the game selections change. We had selected game. Notify of property change. This dot selected. Oh yeah, it's not anywhere in this one. All right. It should be though, I thought. Yeah, there it is. So in the text games view model, we're gonna LED Blinky game select this dot selected game. Whenever that changes, basically, is what we're going for. So that's the text games view model, the wheel games view model. Selected game right here. Except we can just use value. And then this one, selected item changed. you know what? We actually probably need that in here. I never added that. Oh, Pac-Man. If the emulator title is Rocket Launcher, when I try to launch, say, a MAME game, do you think GameStart or GameSelect will work? No, it won't. Yes, it will. That's a good point, Pac-Man. Yeah, Jay, that's actually what I'm setting up right now, as far as getting it to show everything when you select a particular game. That's what GameSelect does. But yeah, Rocket Launcher does have its own LED Blinky integration. That does make sense. And so in this case, I think you would use Rocket Launcher to do it and not LaunchBox, hopefully. That makes a lot more sense. However, Rocket Launcher isn't going to know that actually doesn't help much though when it comes to like selecting things in Big Box, because Rocket Launcher isn't even running at that point. So that is an important point. If we're using Rocket Launcher, it's gonna fail. So yeah, that's something we're gonna have to fix. I'm glad you brought that up. Cover flow. Selected game. There it is. Whenever you set it, we need to call LED Blinky game select value. Same thing with cover flow with details. There it is. Value. All right. So now in my games view models, we should be good to go there. The filters view models, you can select games there as well, of course, in the recent and all that stuff, although that's really not that important. But I'm gonna have to feel that out some. We kind of need to solve the problem though, where getting the emulator name is an issue. I mean, one thing we could do is use platform instead of emulator name. Yeah, okay, Jay. So instead of using the emulator name, we should use the platform name. That's what I'm getting. And if that works, that's what we'll do. I'm thinking we should just use platform everywhere because that'll solve it, period. As long as that's feasible. So some of this stuff we're going to have to test, but I'm going to make this private since we're not using this anywhere else. Then we would make this platform instead. There's only 5 references to it, so it's easy to update it. I think that makes a lot more sense. I really do. And then for this, game select, we don't need to do any of this. We just feed in game.platform.
All NES games have 2 buttons, start, select, and you want a specific lighted button combo for that. Sure. BJ, I have a Logitech K750, and I love it. I wish it wasn't solar. That's about it. But it's the only keyboard that I like the touch of from Logitech right now. For MAME, you really need the game level because all arcade games are different. What do you mean by that, Jay? So, anyways, we use platform here. And then in this case, instead of using DOSBox, we would feed, well, we could just feed over the platform ultimately every single time. And it'd be the same. It's just going to be LED Blinky. Just like that. That's it. And we don't need any of this. Which seems to make a lot more sense to me. And really, I'm thinking game start, we should do the same thing. Emulator level is the platform, so you can default for all games of that type. That makes sense. Yeah, I like this keyboard a lot. It's just got it's got a chiclet touch, but it's a much better chiclet touch than any other keyboard I've ever used. And I like not having to press. I like having a click, but not having to press down very hard or very far. I'm not following. What do you mean by game level, Jay? That's what I don't understand. What is game level? I'm going to switch this up to be game like the other one. And then, oh, wait. In this case, we don't want game title. We want the ROM file name in some cases and the game title in others, which is tricky. So, I almost forgot about that. So, I guess this is always going to be game.platform. Problem is you can't always pass a ROM name because not every platform has ROMs. If game.use DOSBox or game.use scumvm or string.is null or empty game.emulator ID, then we don't even need that stuff. All we care about is whether it's using emulation or not. If it's using emulation, then we should feed over the ROM file name. Otherwise, we feed over the game name. So there we go. So we know we're not using emulation at this point, and we can say game.title. Otherwise, if we're using emulation, it should be game.rom or path.get file name game.application path. You know what though? Come to think of it, we've got additional apps. So I can't do it this way. Come on. Alright. So there's this. Let's cut that out of there. And then let's undo some stuff here. Because we're using additional apps, I need to keep game and platform like this. And then game select is different. We can actually feed the game over, that's fine. But we still need to replace this out. Oh, junk. I just got rid of my... crap. My paste. I pressed the wrong keyboard combination. So this is again game or string dot is null or empty game dot emulator ID. Then we're not using emulation, and we should use game dot title. Otherwise, we're gonna say game dot path dot get file name. I almost forgot this. Utilities dot get full path game dot application path. What if game dot application path is empty? That could be a problem. String dot is null or empty game dot emulator ID, or string dot is null or empty game dot application path. Then we'll use the game's title. All right. And then back to the game start stuff. It's one in additional applications here, and instead of this, we should use the game's platform. And then there's 4 more references in game itself. We have the Windows one, which is going to be this.platform instead. And then we have the DOSBox one, which is going to be also be this.platform. Instead of emulator.title, it needs to be this.platform. And there's one more. There it is. I think we'll go ahead and build this and call it done. Yep, it's past time. Let me follow up on the comments here, though. Pac-Man, just a thought about adding a new field to override the emulator title. Not convinced about using the platform name. Well, we'll look into that. I'm not sure. I really don't know. We might have to add a new field, but I sure hope not. What a waste of a field just to add it for LED Blinky only. But Jay says, whatever you pass into LED Blinky, it will either recognize it or not. If it doesn't, it'll record it and you can set up a config for it. So this is all custom config stuff. So if you're setting up LED Blinky, in theory, if you're setting up LED Blinky to match your platforms, you can customize the names of the platforms or the emulators, whatever. So it makes sense to use platforms, I think. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream. Thanks, guys. This afternoon, I think, but I'll spend time. Well, I don't know that I can do any testing on LED Blinky, but wrapping up the LED Blinky support, and then also coming up with some documentation for the custom themes. So, oh no, oh, your data, yeah, DOS. Good luck, man. I hope you don't get billed out the wazoo for that one. Take it easy, BJ. The only issue is cross front-end support. Ah, that makes sense, Jay. Yeah. Well, and if you're using Rocket Launcher, hopefully you've got your platform's name the same. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so if we pass the platform names, it's easy to change. Well, it's not that easy, but you could change your platform names to match in LaunchBox to match whatever you're using elsewhere. But anyways, yeah, good point. We're gonna have to watch that. I mean, we could add a field to platform for LED Blinky platform name or something like that. Which, worst case scenario, that would work. Thank you, Sid. Take it easy, everybody. I will try and actually get this one up on YouTube. I'm behind. The last stream I never got up on YouTube, and I apologize for that. So I'll be doing that today as well. Hopefully getting both the last stream and this stream up on YouTube by tonight. It takes a long time because they're huge, but hopefully late tonight we can get them both up. Take it easy, guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.